there and welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I'm Roben-Marie.
And I'm Sandi Keene. And these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Robin.
Hey, Sandi.
Episode 2.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. We got through 1.
Yay!
I hope somebody listened to it. Do you think they did?
Besides our mothers?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
Let's hope so.
I hope so.
So today, what are we talking about today?
I think today that we should talk a little bit about how we got from the very beginning to here personally, our art stories.
You mean like our birth date?
No.
Oh, we're not going to talk about age, are we?
No, please. One of us is much older than the other.
I think our art story is good. That's a good place to start because both of us had a very different beginning, I think, to where we are today. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important to share and kind of how we got there. Do you want to start?
Sure. I was always creative. And that means that one of my favorite things when I was a kid was, that big box of crayons with the sharpener on the back. Mm. Can you just take a minute and go and smell a new box of crayons?
Oh, or new paper.
Yeah.
The way paper would smell when you got your school
markers.
Supplies.
Yeah. Or now I'm really freaking old. So do you remember, and it's fine when you say no, but do you remember those fat pens that had the little levers on the top and they were each different colors?
Yes, I do remember those.
That was like...
They were awesome.
Yeah. One of my very favorite things, colored ink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and a good jar of paste.
Did you eat it? Tell me the truth.
Of course. Didn't we all?
I never ate paste.
Oh, you're lying now. They didn't have paste back then.
That's right. We used like mammoth spit back in my day on the cave walls.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Are we still friends? I'm not sure.
We'll see. We'll see how this episode ends up. Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 3, we're no longer friends. So, yes, and then I got into fiber arts. I was always doing crewel and embroidery and cross-stitch, and I like to sketch a little bit, though I was not terribly talented in drawing. That is definitely something that is a learned skill. I was not born with, hey, I can draw. But I just loved creative things my whole life. So I had a friend who was very, very sneaky. And what she did was she came over to my house and she said, "Do you scrapbook?" And I disdainfully said, "No, I don't scrapbook." And she said, "Well, do you mind if I scrapbook while we talk?" And I'm like, "No, go ahead." And so then she starts pulling out all the papers and all the things. And I'm like, hey, it's like sewing.
It's the sewing story all over again, Sandi.
Yeah. Are you seeing a pattern to me? Disdainfully scoffing at things and then becoming like, oh.
And then you embrace them.
Then I embrace them, yes, as when others teach me how wrong I am. So then I started scrapbooking. And I scrapbooked for a really long time and really loved it. And I love the precision of it. I love the storytelling of it because I love words. I read all the time. You read all the time. Mm-hmm. Words are a big deal to me. So I was in scrapbooking and then started to see mixed media and thought it was interesting. But for me, it was really scary.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how do you do all of that?
Yeah, I remember seeing the first issue of Somerset Studio when it launched, and I was so intrigued, and I was, wow, there's this whole other world out there. Right. And that's kind of a scary world, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what product they're using. Mm-hmm. What is this?
Yeah.
So I had been into like art for a while when you and I met and we did the ugly art thing. Mm-hmm. And then I went from there and we were both a part of the Documented Life Project, which was, shall we say, life-changing?
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
And unexpectedly life-changing.
I remember sitting in the booth in that restaurant and you saying, hey, should we put this online to see if anybody wants to join us? 13,000 people later.
Yeah, it was so stressful and overwhelming all at the same time. And then we went to CHA when it launched and had a blast, although I don't think you're going to ever travel with me again.
We won't share a room again. I will travel with you, but we won't share
I was a room. So stressed out. It was just like a really, really difficult, that's a whole other podcast story too.
Yeah.
But but we had roomed together before that, and we went over to that class over in St. Pete.
Yeah.
So we didn't know each other quite as well then as we did in the other trip. But yeah, Documented Life Project, that was something. And it really did sort of introduce more, I think, to the mixed media world, this planner idea. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun, but it was a bit stressful because we totally did not expect what happened.
Unprepared.
We were unprepared.
We were little lambs.
Yeah, maybe we'll get 100 people that might want to follow along with us.
And I'm thinking, we'll never get 100 people.
Oh boy. Somebody whip us now. That was crazy.
Yeah, we were naive and yeah. Anyways, 13,000 people later. And then I started teaching little classes we did through Documented Life.
Yep.
Art to the Fifth, which we shared with some very talented other artists. Yep. And then Watercolor grabbed me by the neck.
Oh, yeah.
And it has not let me go yet.
You have found your thing, for sure.
I've always loved looking at watercolor. But I decided I'm going to give this a try. I'm glad I had no idea. Because if I had known how hard it was going to be and how long I was going to have to work at it, I never would have done it. And I would have missed out because I truly, truly love, love, love watercolor. But I consider myself barely in the intermediate zone. I'm not a beginner anymore, but I'm just barely out of it. There's so much about watercolor I still don't know.
It's amazing, really. I mean, I dabble with it, but mine's more in a just throw the ink on the paper, throw the watercolor on the paper kind of thing. But you've definitely, you can see this progression from when you started into where you are now. And your work is so recognizable. Like, I know when a picture pops up in my Instagram feed, I know it's yours.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah. And it's just this, I don't know, there's just not just the watercolor, but the sketching and all. I just know it's yours. It's very recognizable. And I'm glad that you didn't know in advance, right? Sometimes ignorance is bliss, as they say, where it's better that you don't know all the things going in. And I'm one of those people is like, I got to know all the details before I jump in. And yeah.
I'm glad I didn't know. Yeah. I remember I started with a watercolor palette from Michael's, the cheapest of cheap, like the $3 palette that is basically sidewalk chalk and water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll turn you off because then you're like, well, this is crap. I can't do this. But, it's learning and educating yourself about the products themselves too. Because if you start out with something that's not really that great and you don't really know how to use it, you think it's you and it's not you.
Right.
Yeah.
But, even with that crappy watercolor that you would give to a 3-year-old, I still liked it. And I'm like, okay, I like this. I'm going to take some classes because I think taking classes is the easiest way to learn. Because you can learn so much from what are they using, what paints, how do they hold their brushes, how much water. I don't care what we're painting. I want to gather all that information.
The information. And isn't that part, though, when you're putting yourself out there to try and explore, you have now found that thing that you just love.
I do.
But there's something else that you're doing now, too. Tell us about that.
Are you talking about coaching?
Yes.
No, it's a secret.
Oh, that's right. You password protected your page. Nobody can find it.
I did not password protect my page because you wouldn't let me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I was coaching you then, right?
You were. Yes, I do coaching, and I really, really love it.
You're good at it.
Thank you.
Really, really are. You just have the ability to truly understand people and ask the right questions. And not just that, but listen to what they're saying and then repeat that back and say, this is what I'm hearing you say. And you've helped me so much because I go off in bazillions of different directions and you really have the talent and the skill to bring that to focus and really help other artists, as I know you do, through those decisions. And
Thank you.
You definitely
I do really love it. And I have a background in social work, so it's not like this is something brand new to me. And I've learned how to listen. And that's a big deal because people will tell you what you need to know if you just listen to them.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So a lot of the things that I'm doing in coaching is I'm taking what you've told me and putting a pretty bow on it. It's like, you gave me the answer. Now let me make it pretty and give it back to you. Or let me just ask you the right question.
Yeah. I know I have to laugh. you guys are going to find this funny because Sandi, our history is I have to have a difficult conversation with you. And that's sort of been the thing. And I have to just share this because it's so funny. I was really stressed out during this time of my life. And I remember we were talking about the art pop line that I had come out with. And we were talking about getting ready to go to CHA. And you were giving me all this instruction about we're going to do this and we should do this, blah, blah, blah. And I remember just looking at you and I started crying. And then I had to get up and I had to go to the other room because I was so overwhelmed. And it's just like, and no, Sandi does not make her coaching clients cry, but
not usually.
Not usually. But I guess I was sort of a tough case back then. But yeah, but I don't mind. Let's have a difficult conversation. In fact, I embrace it now because I know that it's going to be helpful to me. And I know that I need to hear what you're not just going to tell me things I want to hear. You're helping me and it's being real with me as well.
Right. But I hope to always come at people in those difficult conversations in a loving and constructive way.
Oh, and you do. Absolutely.
Yeah. But sometimes you do say, I'm sorry, baby. We got to have a difficult conversation. It's like, strap in. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got 2 seatbelts that I keep right where I need them just in case. No, it's hard sometimes to be on that receiving end of knowing that you need to hear sometimes the hard words or the difficult thing. And it's okay. I feel like I've grown a lot having you as a coach who's helped me with those things for so long. So,
well, that's because you're willing to have those conversations and to listen
and
not run, because I can understand when people say, yeah, thank you, I'm out.
Exactly. And there's been a few times I'm like, I don't know about this. But
we'll go slow. We'll go gentle.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm doing now, watercolor and coaching.
I love it.
Tell us about you.
Well, mine started much like yours. As a youngster, I was always wanting to create. I didn't care what it was. I made my own stuffed animals. I made puppets. I made jewelry. I loved the craft hut during summer camp. Like, I wanted to be involved in anything like that. I remember waking my mom up at times going, there's a new kit, like latch hood rugs, all of that things, batiking. I was always looking and I always wanted to be creating. And my story kind of does stem a lot from my childhood, having grown up in a military family. We moved around a lot. So I was always starting over. But being able to create and having something, it was sort of a security, I think, for me. And so I carried that on. But then when I became a college age adult, I wanted to do something in the art field, but was pretty much told you can't make a living at that.
It's not practical.
It's not practical. You have to pick something that will be something you can do that will be a job, that you can have a job. Not a career, but a job.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, well, this was during a time when personal computers were just emerging. They were just coming out. The Mac came out. And I thought, well, I'll just do computer programming. I'll be a, whatever they call that major, a science something. And I thought, all right, I'll do that. And then I liked it, but I was like, yeah, I don't really know this is what I want to do. And so ultimately I ended up in public relations and marketing. And my first job was mostly doing special events, planning the themes, putting them on. It was very creative and I loved it. But over time, with my husband's job moving us around, I had to kind of start over each time we moved. And I found scrapbooking and rubber stamping. And it was kind of like, ooh, I like this. This is moving me in a different direction. And ultimately, I ended up going to a stamp convention and I saw that kind of mixed media thing you were talking about. And it was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Yeah. And so things just progressed really from there. And I think it was just being open to all the different mediums that were mixed media, paint and paper. And then I remember looking at an article, and I think it was Stampington. It was about art journaling, visual journaling. And I was fascinated because I kept journals as a kid, cutting papers out and adding things, much like you would kind of a scrapbook kind of thing. And I loved it. And that's sort of where it catapulted me into, okay, I can do this. And then I started teaching and I started traveling, and then that became a lot. So I thought I'll teach online. And then that sort of snowballed into teaching online and developing products from my art and doing that as well. But much like you, that creative part also led into something else. And that is I'm kind of gone full circle back to the techie part of things, which I love. Remember seeing a blog for the first time in like 2004, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I want one because it just looks so cool. Mm-hmm. And now, and for the last few years, I've been helping some other artists develop their own websites, and I love it. I really, really enjoy it. It's very creative, but it satisfies that technical side of what I enjoy doing. So it's kind of ironic that I was told you can't make a living at this, and I kind of am. Yeah. And I'm also still doing the tech stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So it's fun, and I really do enjoy it, and it's very satisfying to help other creatives who don't have that ability, the tech ability, or really the time and patience to learn it, because they'd rather be creating their art.
Right.
And so I love that I've been able to marry both of those loves that I have together.
How long did you have Paperback Studios?
Wow, that we started in 2004. I was teaching, and I was at a stamp store, and I was ordering stamps. And I thought I could just make my own, and then I'd have what I want. And there was a girl that was in the back room with me, and she said, yeah, you could do that. And so we started that business, and we ran that business until 2018.
Wow.
So it was quite a while.
Long time.
Yeah, a good while.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's been quite an adventure, and it's evolved over time and changed, and it's going to do that. I think that is something that if you're open to it, you'll see that your creative journey changes. I mean, when I first started creating art, more as an adult, I say when I discovered mixed media, I used a lot of brown and black, very earthy, vintage, natural, kind of neutral colors. I am so far away from that now, and have been. It's amazing. When the light bulb went on, kind of like with you in watercolor, and it was like, okay, color. I can use color. I'm a real artist. I can do this, because that was scary to me. And now it's not scary at all.
No. I remember watching pink come into your world. And it was like, wow, she's using a pink. I mean, black is always the color I associated with you, because you use black so effectively. But then when I started seeing pink come in, and then it was teal, and then lime and blue, and it's like, holy cow, look at all this color.
Yeah, and I just cannot even imagine ever going back to the neutrals. And I've even tried. I've even seen and been inspired by things. I'm like, I really, really like that, or I like all that white space, and I like this. But then when I start doing it, it's like all the color just comes pouring out, and I'm like, well, that's my thing then, right?
Yeah,
lots of color. Yeah, lots of color. So let's talk about our takeaway. What do we want our listeners, who, by the way, we want to thank very much for joining us in this episode. This is episode number 2. And we're sharing our story, a little bit how we got started in our art and where we are today. But what do we want them to take away from this podcast?
For me, the takeaway is that art is a journey. I mean, you hear that word a lot, but there's a reason. It really is. You start in one place and you're headed, down this road. You know exactly where you're going. Only you don't.
But life is like that too, though.
Yes.
This is just one aspect of it.
Right. And it will change and shift, and you will meet people and mediums and products that will absolutely change everything about you.
Mm-hmm. So be open-minded.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hello.
I'll never have a sewing machine. By the way, I can touch my sewing machine right there.
Oh, yeah. Front and center in her studio space.
Yeah. And absolutely. If you don't know what we're talking about, that means you should listen to episode 1.
You got to go back, listen to 1, and it'll all be revealed.
There you go.
Ugly art and coffee.
That's right. That's how we started. So what about you? What are you taking away from this?
Yeah, much the same as what you've said. And I think it's definitely being open to exploring new things and experimenting, because I think that it's easy to just kind of get in your own little space and your rut, and it's like, this is what I do. But I also think it's important to utilize the resources that are out there to you, whether it's YouTube videos or online courses, to educate yourself about materials and how to do things. And if you're interested in a topic or you're interested in something, take a class. Learn whether it's at your local college or it's online. I mean, I wanted to learn the much deeper how to use Photoshop. So I signed up at the local college and took a course. And it's amazing the things that you can learn and then gain that confidence and then start applying it, like you with the watercolor. Mm-hmm. And how great that you didn't know anything before you started,
Literally
or you
nothing.
Never would have come to the place that you are now and be doing what you're doing now.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, me too.
I hope everyone else is too.
Yeah, I hope so. What are we going to talk about in the next one? Have we thought about that yet?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's going to be fun.
I think we need to take a break, though, and have some coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
Oh, okay. We'll have some tea.
Okay, I don't drink that either. Okay, bye.
All right, see you next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We sure appreciate all your support.
And you can find me at sandykeene.com and my teaching site, popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me at robenmarie.com and my classes at robenmariestudio.com.